have your thoughts on our 4 new linebackers.
I'm excited to get working with these guys. 3 of them will be here for spring ball.
Project.
No, I'm excited about them. Yeah, this one's much better for sure. I'm soft-spoken a little bit though. So. But no, I'm excited about these guys. I think we got a tremendous group, 4 guys, 4 of the top guys in the country. I feel like we got what we set out to get. You know, the #1 linebacking unit in the country. That's what we kind of set out to do.
Yeah.
Right off the get-go, so we just pushed it. And, you know, obviously we just had to weather the storm a little bit with our guy BK here at the end. But it's all about relationships at the end of the day, I feel like. And those are going to be hard to overcome when you make the right ones and with the right people. And we got a great product to sell, honestly. Great institution, great program, great head coach with Coach Moore. So we're definitely on the right track, and it's been great to be a part of it.
Jerry?
Let's talk about Mike for a second, because that seems to be the big shocker of the day. You know, we get this big 5-star linebacker from Torrance, California. They've been comparing him to Miles Jack. And I know you're laughing at me because I sound like a TV personality now instead of your backup quarterback. So let's talk a little bit about Mike and what makes him such a special player.
Mike obviously is the one that's going to garner the most headlines, but he's special in every sense of the word. I think he's a guy that's going to come in here and impact us from day one. I've been telling him throughout this whole process is we got 45 practices, 15 here in the spring, and then probably 30 or so more in training camp to get him ready for that first ball game. I want to put a lot on his plate, just like we did with Miles. I mean, we threw everything at Miles right off the get-go, and he took to it. And Mike is the type of guy that's like that as well, in the sense of the more you give him, the more he's going to flourish. So I'm looking forward to getting started with him. He's a tremendous kid, comes from a tremendous background, tremendous family. Mike and Natasha have done a great job raising him and not letting this hype and all this stuff from being a 5-star, being the #1 linebacker in the country, kind of affect how he goes about his business. And I'm excited to get started with him.
Let me ask you, you're the linebacker coach and you worked your way up through the ranks. You were a UCLA quality control coach. You were a graduate assistant as well. I know you had a great career at Washington first at Washington. Exactly. Now, tell me if I'm correct, is Robert Thomas working with the linebackers still?
Rob is in a unique situation. I'm not sure what Rob is doing right now. I think he's focused really right now is finishing his graduate degree and getting that in order more so than anything with the linebackers. We've got a great system in place already, from what myself and Jeff Olberg have kind of collaborated on since he was. I got the Rob that night. We got together. Since Jeff and I got together initially when the staff first came together, and we've just been, doing the same things and just keep plugging it in with talented players and just keep, putting out good linebackers. That's kind of our goal.
Now, as far as you being the linebacker coach, do you follow suit to some of the drills like Coach Holbert was using, or do you institute a lot of your new ones? What are you doing to put your touch on the linebacker corps?
Oh, it's always been my touch, though, honestly. Jeff and I, when we first got together, Jerry will tell you, he's there every day. Jeff gave me this platform, and kind of nurtured me all the way up, so to speak. And when we first got together, we developed this system. We started, talking about LBU in the sense of not that we're better than anybody or we're the best, linebacker team or whatever, so to speak, but more or less just about learning how to play the position. That was the biggest thing that Jeff and I, when we first put this system in terms of training and developing linebackers together, that's what it was about.
Now you won't be boastful, but now that I'm an alumni, I can be boastful. Because as I recount, we've pumped out an All-Pro, a Rookie of the Year, and now hopefully a high-round draft pick at linebacker. So you have a lot to hang your hat on. But let's talk about, we talk about a lot about players on days like this, but recruiting is a grind. And you've got to fly all over the country, you've got to meet all these kids' parents, and you've got to make sure you do whatever it takes if they sign UCLA on today. What is your favorite place to visit, and what has been your most favorite home visit you've done this year?
Oh,
Good question.
That's a good question. All right, well, my favorite place to visit, all the guys that we got this year in the 2016 class were all pretty local, so I didn't have to travel all over the country, so to speak, to go get those guys, but I really enjoyed going to Dallas. We got some very talented 2017 prospects that are out there in that area, so I enjoyed going there. I also enjoyed going to the Northwest Seattle area, Western Washington, where I got a lot of roots there, obviously, playing and going to school there. But the best home visit of this go-around, I would say, is Sabrina Owens. Darian Owens' mom makes the best fried chicken. Oh, it was incredible. Incredible. Myself, Coach Mora, and Coach Yarber, we home visited Darian. It was incredible. Incredible.
I have one question for you. So, if any of the current or soon to graduate or just graduated UCLA players, do any come to mind that would make really great football coaches? Are there any guys that are?
No pressure.
Great football coaches. I think Miles Jack. Like when you watch Miles interact with the kids, like he would come and help us run our camps in the summertime. And he came. I mean, he was working the camp, and he's like, man, I like this coaching thing, And so that's something maybe he could do after he gets done playing. Eric Kendricks was also incredible. I think could be had the potential to be a
Deion Holland.
Tremendous coach. Deion as well. Yeah, Deion Hollins as well.
Deion's dad.
Yeah. Deion Hollins as well, Jayon Brown, all those guys do a great job when they come out and help us with our summer camps.
Okay, who is on the coming up, like Savania and those guys, are they going to take that next step forward? From last year, which ended on a rocky note, to this year, we have a pretty good group of guys. We have Jayon Brown coming back, Savania. What is your take on the guys coming back, and how are the new guys going to blend in? And is Brant going to stay at linebacker?
Brant's always been a linebacker.
Okay, because I
Yeah,
was
he's
talking
always been a linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah, no. We're not going to turn away 6'5", 225 and say go play another position. He'll be staying
Hard
on
to
the
share
linebacker.
those guys.
Yeah, they're fighting me over him right now. But no, he's always been and will be a linebacker. But as far as the group, I was pleased with them. A lot of inexperienced guys. So you saw a lot of growing pains, and then to go with that, a lot of the injuries to create the musical chairs. But we have a very talented group, and then when you add this influx of guys that are here, we've got some young freshmen, and not a freshman anymore, Josh Woods and Keyshawn, who were able to redshirt, in that linebacker group. I mean, it's really going to be, a talented group. And, now we've built some depth and some experience within the group, so I think it's going to be really strong next year.
Yeah, I saw Josh Woods. He didn't play a lot, but I saw him play in high school.
He's talented.
Very talented.
Yeah.
Johnny?
One more? Yeah, one more. Yeah.
We said that last year ended on a rocky note, but we know defense is all predicated on the defensive line, affects the linebackers, affects the, and most people won't say it, but I got your back. Don't worry about it. But what would you say the one thing that the defense would have to improve on the most? Not that saying that we need improvement at all, but what were we going to go to work on in spring ball to make sure we're ready for the Mazzonis and Texas A&M?
Oh, I think more so than anything, just getting after redefining the grind, doing what we do better. So obviously staying healthy, that's a big part of it. As you guys saw this year, I mean, we had some devastating injuries to very, very talented players. Like you take an Eddie Manning out the defense, Fabian Moreau, Miles Jack, I mean, we're going to feel that. Everybody's going to feel that. So, but as far as taking that next step, just developing a consistency. I mean, you've been in that locker room, Jerry. I think at the end of the day, when the common denominator for me as I've evaluated and self-scouted our defense is let's get out of our own way. I think that's the biggest thing. Let's eliminate the self-inflicted injuries, issues in terms of busted assignments, missed tackles, things like that. Just doing what we do better.
Just being a more fundamentally sound defense. I totally agree. Now, let's talk about Breland Brand a little bit, since you just brought him up. And he's already enrolled in UCLA. And I know there's rules about who I can talk about, but I can talk about him. With the 6'5" frame, and then we've got Lucia South coming back. What do you think about that kind of size on the edge, especially in the pass rush situation?
I think it's going to be tremendous. Anytime that you can put pressure on people with just more rushes is special, and those guys are going to be able to do that. They're going to play in a multitude of positions, off the ball, up on the line as rushers, dropping. A lot of the things that we use Anthony Barr to do, those guys are in that mold. So those guys, when we have those pass rushes, you don't have to pressure that much. You can get there before and create a pass rush is always effective. It's going to help your back end coverage.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a tough question. Was Coach Bradley's work last season, were we looking at his defense or Coach Moore's defense with a little touches here and there? And this season, are we going to see Coach Bradley's version of defense?
That's a good question. I think what we've always done is what we've always done. You know, we have some great concepts and great schemes, and obviously Coach Bradley has added to that. He has a wealth of knowledge on the defensive side of the ball. He's turned out a ton of, top 10 defenses. So, as we get, more into it, we're going to keep evolving it, and that's what this time after recruiting is all about, to evaluate your scheme, evaluate yourself, and find ways to get better. And that's what you're going to see out there this spring.
Well, one of the things that the Bros always complain about, or have complained at least this season, is the lack of pressure on the quarterback and the bend but don't break type of defense that we played. Are we going to see any more pressure concepts this season with this group than we did this last season?
Honestly, Bob, that's a better question for Coach Bradley. To be honest, in terms of what plays are going to be called and what situations, honestly, all I'm really worried about is keeping our guys healthy and getting those linebackers to take the next step and get the most out of them at the end of the day. So I felt like, as I evaluated that group, we got the most out of those guys. J.I. had a great year. Aaron Wallace had a great year, made a ton of strides. Deion Hollins, all-conference player for us, and that's kind of easy to do in this conference. So we're on our way. We've got a lot of young, talented players in the pipeline, and we're going to continue to build this thing.
Okay, we've talked enough about defense. I know you're tired of it, but let's talk a little bit about special teams real quick. We got a whole new special teams unit, and you're replacing the greatest holder in the country. So, what can we expect as special teams-wise? Because I know that's something that we've always been so prideful in as a Bruin team.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, when you lose to the real Tui has just entered the building.
Yeah, bring him up.
The legend.
Hey, Coach. So glad you're here.
No, as far as the special teams goes, honestly, Jerry, we're breaking in all three new guys. We're going to have an audition, or not an audition, a tryout in the springtime and throughout the fall to find that new holder. Obviously, you don't want your starting quarterback out there. Okay. We're obviously breaking in a new kicker with J.J. Molson, who's already on campus, who's my top lieutenant. I love J.J. He's done a tremendous job throughout this entire recruiting process. He jumped out there and recruited everybody. I mean, J.J.'s been a great ambassador for what we're doing. Now obviously we got a new long snapper, Johnny Tipplock, and we're firing everybody.
Now I've seen J.J. Molson's highlight tape. Can we at least get him a field goal to kick at instead of the poles that he seems to be kicking at his highlight tape?
Yeah, we're going to get him right. He's obviously making that transition over to American football, but J.J.'s up for it. His arrow is pointed up to the sky, man. I'm looking forward to watching him kick for us this fall.
Well, I know we're all excited in here. I'm glad they let me be a part of this so I could come pick your brain a little bit. When you're an alumni, you don't get this access to coaches anymore, so I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Let's give a big hand to Scott White, our linebacker coach. Thank you so much for coming and delivering a great class for 2016.